Coming up on the next episode of the Celsius Pod.
I was sick and I was bored. I watched a lot of movies.
Great, yeah, you're right. Wouldn't that be crazy if they couldn't figure out how tornadoes work? Even though it's when the hot and the cold go and they go.
It killed my family. '89.
But it's also the finale of the summer arc, I would say.
Well,
Right?
I want to technically call 90 the finale, but this is the last time we're talking about RWBY.
You guys
Yeah,
want to see my Beck impression?
I would love to see your Beck impression. It must be really good.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Well, you guys admit Beck does this a lot,
okay,
right?
well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
So that was my Beck impression, actually.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So basically, this is like the last one until.
Yeah, that's a great Beck impression.
That is really good. Wow.
Okay.
Can you try and keep it? I think yours is the best. If you can keep that up for the rest of the pod, that'd be pretty impressive.
You know, I'll try.
He's doing the hair thing.
Oh my god, this guy! Oh my goodness!
Wow, I now I have to worry about what I do all the time because you guys.
What's the weather?
Oh, let me
We're
go
gonna
take a
remember
look.
it this time.
We've never once forgotten.
Never
We
forgot.
never forget.
70, it's 70 degrees right now.
Beck, do not say it like that. Never forget.
We
Never forget. Never forget.
Okay, well, I believe we'll end with Ice Queendom, but we do
True,
have
and
a lot
RWBY
to talk
Chibi.
about, and
Yeah.
some of RWBY Chibi.
Can I talk about Cobra Kai first?
Yes. So
Sure.
me and Uri have both seen 4 seasons of Cobra Kai and 5 eggs.
5. Wait, this is 6, Beck.
No, this is the 6th season?
This is the
God,
6th.
this show
That's
is
crazy.
so stupid. It is.
How are they making more of the show?
It repeats itself every season.
It
It's
does kind
so
of do that.
crazy.
How was this not a 1-season show that ended in
It should have been a
2020?
1-season show.
No, the first 2 seasons of the show are absolute peak. Like the end, they have like a battle, like a karate fight battle that's not cringe, like the show became later after season 2.
Yeah.
But I would say first season is fucking good because it started off as like a YouTube Red show, which allowed it to stay in like sort of still have the goofiness of like of the Karate Kid franchise, but not like have a serious tone of a Netflix show. But when it was sold to Netflix, you kind of got more of that weird tone that some Netflix shows have, like a little too cringe, not in more of the fun.
Yeah,
goofiness
for me, it felt like as the seasons got on, it got more and more like goofy and like not really serious, you know?
Yeah, because like the thing is, the Karate Kid franchise, they did a really mix of the goofy and the serious, which was really nice for the sort of YouTube kind of like Red, because that was like a streaming service that we all know. No one thinks about YouTube Red.
No one remembers
I didn't think it
YouTube Red
existed anymore.
existed.
I didn't think it existed anymore. I thought
It does not exist anymore.
I don't think it exists anymore.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and but then when it get into the Netflix stuff, it kind of went to the regular kind of idea of like fringe teen Netflix show where so like before it was like still goofy of the Karate Kid franchise, but still like got that serious tone in it a bit. But then it was like it went like. But the thing is, Netflix shows does this thing where it goes so serious, it then becomes cringe. Because like my brother in Christ, John Kreese is a fucking fugitive from the law. He's like, I have to teach kids karate. I have to teach kids karate.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't need to do that.
Okay,
They treat karate like it's the fucking Force from Star Wars in this universe.
And like, if this karate company can expand, the whole world is gonna end.
No.
They teach the rules of fight hard, no mercy.
Okay, Uri, let me give the recap of season 6. So we have good karate guy, John LaRusso, and like he has some student. I fucking forget his name.
You're mixing the name. Daniel
LaRusso, and he
and
has
Johnny Lawrence.
and Johnny Lawrence. See, like, they don't like each other, but they have to put aside their differences to fight a common enemy and learn
hold on,
that
wait.
it's better to work together. And that's what happens in season 6.
Wait, the main character of the show is the guy from the first Karate Kid, right?
Yeah.
But like the main
But
villain, right?
they're all kind of the main character. Like, he's like kind of the idea. Like, because I think after Karate Kid the first kind came out, like, or like after the whole like original trilogy, I guess. I don't know if is it a trilogy? I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the sentiment of it, like Cobra Kai wasn't that bad, and I think that sentiment is kind of what made the show popular. I guess like people really want to see the Cobra Kai side of things, and I think that's what birthed the show. But you really see all the main players about from the original movies come back, which is something I do have to credit the show for. It does do the kind of legacy sequel pretty well by bringing back which characters and like having some serious character growth for a lot of the characters, because you see like a villain, but then he becomes like a good guy in the show, and something that it does become repeated at one point in the show, but like the character arcs are pretty fucking amazing at some point in the shows, like
yeah.
but then it gets to a point where like every fucking character does like switch sides, like wait, you're in Cobra Kai? No, wait, you're in Miyagi-Do. No, wait, Cobra Kai, Miyagi-Do.
It is,
And
yeah.
so it does become tiring a bit of a while, but there is insane character growth for a lot of the characters, which is really cool, because like you see a character who like starts off as a nerd, but then he becomes like a Cobra Kai villain, and then he becomes a good guy again. Good, it's like, and it's so funny when the characters are like, you were on the bad side for a little bit, but you're a good guy now.
Yeah. It
So-
that's my problem with this show, is it just is so confusing, but it's also just repeating the same plot lines over and over again. I don't want to watch it anymore.
And so, if I'm gonna say this, season 1 and 2 really good, but
Yeah.
then season 3 still pretty good, and on the first of an interesting note where I feel like we first see Johnny and Daniel team up, and like the end of season 3, like they're gonna be together, but then beginning of season 4, because that was the end of season 3,
Yeah.
they're like, "Nah, we can't work together." Ah, shit. And then like we build up the Terry Silver kind of threat, and they have him like the big bad in season 5, and then they extinguish that kind of like threat at the end of season 5. And then so season 6 is like the first season without like a real karate villain, like since season 1. And so we see in season 6, at least the first half, guys, there's 3 parts of
It's
5
3?
episodes. 3.
I thought it was 2. Oh,
It's 3.
bro.
And so we're seeing how guys, you're gonna hear this word so much. Sakai Takai. That's like the major
tournament, yeah.
the major karate tournament.
The
and you're like,
worldwide international karate tournament.
where finally Johnny has accepted himself into Miyagi-Do karate, and like he's like they're finally getting together. Obviously, they're always going to bitter, but you know what's something interesting? The glazing on Mr. Miyagi, it goes so hard this season. Like Daniel's all like, "Wait, Mr. Miyagi? What would Mr. Miyagi do?" Wait, like you heard in like the first like few seasons, like him really looking up to Mr. Miyagi, but then like in this season, like after he finds a box of like maybe he finds like a treasure box or like a hidden box that Mr. Miyagi had in like the dojo.
Yeah.
And it was like paper clipping of like a news report that he like actually assaulted and robbed someone, and he's all like, "Wait, that can't be Mr. Miyagi. No, Mr. Miyagi, that could." And so he struggles with that for a little bit, which I felt was like kind of forced. I didn't feel like that was the best use of Daniel's storyline. Like,
yeah,
shit, Mr. Miyagi. And okay, I'm gonna say this was like I think the first like freshest season since, because like now we're actually building towards something, and the storylines, while at times very, very cringe, and sometimes super serious. Like it does not balance that well sometimes. Because like there's a scene where it's all like they're deciding who goes to the Sakai Takai because can only be 6 people,
Ooh.
and like so like four people go into the woods and say like there's 2 flags. 2 of you have to come back with the flags, and you 2 go into the tournament. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they do that, but then like one of the one of one of the people, they drank some water and his water was spiked with laxatives. And so then he's like, he has to go shit, and he's all like, he has to go shit. He's like, oh no, I have to go to the shitter. And it's like he's covering his ass while he goes to the porta potty. Oh no. And it was very funny. But I mean, it made sense in the story because like because you expected it was like the guy Kenny and he and Anthony Danielson, they're like they've been kind of feuding, but they got kind of back to like together, like at least friends ish. But then and then he assumed it was Anthony who spiked him, but it was actually a different girl who we didn't expect it to be, and she got into the tournament, and so that was it was kind of interesting.
Wait, just like a random girl we've never met before?
No, we've met her. She was like in season 5 and season 4, I think.
Mm.
But I'm gonna say, obviously, I think the weakest points in the show were season 4 and season 5, because like it felt like, okay, what are we really doing here? It's like they have to fight because the ultimate big bad of the show is John Kreese, right?
Yep.
And like, but then like, kind of saying like, dude, what are you doing? Why do you care about karate so much? You should be like, go on the run, dude. But he's all like,
no, but
and then
Vietnam. He was in Vietnam.
Oh, not Vietnam.
And the show is kind of confusing on whether it wants to redeem John Kreese or not, because sometimes you get like he's the biggest villain ever, but he's all like, then he has flashbacks of where him being a good guy. So I don't know.
When he was in Vietnam.
See, that's the part of the show that's so serious. That's so serious.
POW in Vietnam and has to fight his friend to the death. And then you have some random guy who's just take a shit in a porta potty.
And so in this season, remember the character of Tori played by Peyton List from Jessie?
Yeah.
So finally this season, she's joined Miyagi-Do because she's renounced her Cobra Kai ways, right?
Yeah.
And and so her character is probably the most interesting one because like we see how like she's struggling to like her mom is like is sick and she's struggling how to make that meet with also becoming
it's almost like that was her arc for the past 2 seasons.
It has been like that, but I would say it kind of it does leave the season lives on kind of an insane cliffhanger that kind of makes more sense when you think about it. But like they do this tournament to decide who's going to be like the male and female captain, and between Miguel and Robbie fight because obviously people if you could assume who's going to be in the 6, it's going to be LaRusso's daughter Tori, Robbie, and Miguel, right? It's going to be those
and maybe
4,
like
obviously.
Hawk. If you said 6,
actually,
right?
it goes into everything thing where it's like at first, like because the Hawk and Dimitri storyline season, like Dimitri's all like, I can't wait to go to MIT. MIT is so great, but then Hawk's all like, I don't know if I want to go to MIT, and it's like, you don't want, you didn't even apply to MIT, what? And that kind of breaks the relationship. And then it turns out Dimitri, like him and Hawk, Dimitri and Hawk, they go into like to the woods. They were part of the 2 to get the flags.
Yeah.
And they actually fight each other after their little confrontation.
No.
When he reveals to him that he didn't apply to MIT. And so Dimitri actually joins the 6. But then, and then the other girl who I talked about, she was joining like the 6. But then they have the big fight of the male and female captains where so Robbie beats Miguel and he becomes the male captain. And so obviously Sam and Tori, they're gonna fight. And but then before then, like this is when the show gets fucking so serious. Tori's mom dies.
No.
Oh, dude, what?
No, now they can't do karate.
And she's all like,
oh my god.
And then she's like, she's in her own head, and she's like, she doesn't appear at the tournament, you know.
Yeah.
And and then they're like, and then she finally appears, and but she's like kind of crying. It's kind of obvious she's been crying, but she's like, she's like ready to fight because she wants to take all her anger out.
Yeah.
And then and
And
so
then they hug it out, and be like, "We're
they do
here
not
for you."
hug it out. They do not hug it out. So Sam and Tori start to fight, but Tori's going sicko mode. She's going so fucking hard, like her darkness has clouded her judgment or something like that from Star Wars or I don't know. And she's like, but then I guess I don't know, maybe Daniel's wife, Sam's mom, like Anthony's mom, like she has like maybe she has Tori's phone, but she gets like a call from like the medical center, and I think it's revealed to her that her mom died, and then she tells Daniel to stop the fight, and then Daniel's all like, he goes to Johnny, who's refereeing the fight, and it's like, you have to stop the fight, and Johnny's all like, why do you have to stop the fight? And then it was like, and then like a big moment's building because like, is Daniel gonna say it? Who's gonna say her mom is dead? And then Tori just yells out, because my mom is dead. And
and then it all goes
and
quiet.
then no, Johnny's all like, you know what? She should fight. Let her fight. And that's what I kind of expect. I did not expect that because like I guess it makes sense for the character, but I really thought Johnny had grown to that point because earlier in the season he had been like to like what was it, Paul Walter Hauser, the character who plays what was it? He's like the big guy. He like starts the new like he starts like a new version of Cobra Kai in like the woods. He said, you should join, Johnny, and it's like he rejects that, and I thought it was, we see some character growth, and I guess it makes sense, but it's gonna be like people don't really arc out cleanly in this show, I guess. But so then they go into like they have a confrontation. Johnny and Daniel like, why would you do that? And Johnny's all like, well, when my mom died, I wanted to fight everybody, so she should fight if she wants to fight. And then like, you know what? After this Sakai Takai, which is they say that word 50 billion times this season. After the Sakai Takai, we're done. Also, you gotta remember that Johnny got a job at Daniel's like auto dealership.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so you see finally they're growing together, but then this is kind of breaking them apart. I'm assuming they're probably gonna get like friendly again, and they're gonna repair their relationship in like the next parts, I guess.
Yeah.
But so she leaves, and they're like, you know what? Since Tori is gone, Hawk is gonna take the place, and so we're probably gonna see how that builds. And then they're finally. It does this thing where it's like it just kind of cuts to Sakai Takai. It's like everyone comes into the to like the big dojo where they're gonna do the tournament, and then like you see the Miyagi-Do people, but then the Cobra Kai people, and also John Kreese is doing this thing where he's like in Asia. He's like teaching like a new group of like from like some old master. His old master has like a new group of people. Is like he helps teach the new students.
He's an international fugitive, and they're letting him compete at this karate tournament.
And you know what's really funny? Before the mom died, Tori was in like a parking lot, and he just was in the parking lot. He's like, Tori, wait, you should join Cobra Kai. And it's like, how are you in the country? And he's like,
escape prison.
And they're like, and she's like, how did you get in the country? He's like, I have my ways.
Yeah, as we know, the karate instructors know human smuggling across borders. That's one of their talents.
And then the tournament is in like Barcelona, and then they finally see all the Cobra Kai people come up. But guess who's in the Cobra Kai group now?
No, Tori.
Yeah. And so that was actually a really big cliffhanger.
Oh my
and then
God.
The season, and then Chris is all like, "Let the games begin," and that's how it ends. And so I'm gonna say this about the show: this season was like actually the first kind of season that got me hyped for Cobra Kai in like a while. But I'm gonna say the show, it went on for too fucking long.
This is going on too. I might watch it because what you're describing seems like really funny. But yeah.
I think you should watch it just because, like, yes, it can be insanely cringe.
I mean, I am 5 seasons in, so I should probably finish.
Yeah, do not make this a lost situation.
That's what you said about
Lost one day. Just Just to shut you guys up about that.
You
And
need
so
to
I'm
know
gonna
if they leave the island back.
yeah, Beck. And so I'm gonna say, yeah, it's not. I feel like the show is pretty much kind of degraded. It's kind of like idea and like gimmick at this point in the show. It's like new generation of kids learning karate. Can Miyagi-Do and Cobra Kai learn their differences? Who knows? And then just a bunch of cringe moments throughout the
We're
entire
gonna
show.
have a bad guy turn good, but then also turn back into a bad guy, but then they have a redemption. All in like
like
one
it.
season.
But ultimately, I'm gonna say I really actually they do leave an interesting point where I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna end the show, which is a good place for a show to be when it's like the final season, like anything could happen. And so
Mm.
season 4 and 5, not that good. I'm gonna say the first 3 seasons pretty good. First 2 really good. 3 kind of good. 4 and 5, but this season, despite its many cringe moments, I'm hyped. So yeah.
Yeah.
As long as you're hyped, Jury, is what matters.
What?
As long as you're hyped, Jury, that's what matters.
Yeah, Aiden. Can you talk about something? I think I gotta get some water.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk about Kiteman real quick. How about that?
Cool.
Yeah, let's talk about
Yeah.
Kiteman.
So, Kiteman, here's what happened in this episode. So they move in to the apartment above Noonan's. Noonan's is the bar that Kiteman and Golden Glider own, and Bane is helping them move in. Bane takes a shit in their toilet, and he goes back to the 80s. So that's what Bane's doing. And then Kiteman is like, "Hey, Golden Glider, where's all the pictures of your family and your childhood?" And she's like, "I don't want to talk about it." And then she gets mad at him, and so he goes to her brother, Captain Cold, the Flash villain, and he's like, "Hey, Captain Cold, what happened to your parents?" And he's like, "Oh, they died in Noonan's." And he's like, "What? That's crazy." And so he takes a picture of her father and Golden Glider as a child, and he takes it. And then he goes to Golden Glider. He's like, "Look, I have the photo." And she's like, "No, you don't have the whole truth. I actually killed them because my father was abusive to my mom, and I got mad and killed them both." And Kiteman's like, "Oh wow, I'm so sorry." And Golden Glider leaves, and then Bane shows up in the photo because Bane is in the past, and they're like, and Kiteman's like, "Oh whoa, Bane is in the past. I should go to the past and save my girlfriend's family from dying." And so he tries to do it, but then he doesn't do it, and Golden Glider also goes back to the past. So, and they don't do it, and nothing happens, and that's the end of the episode.
It was kind of like an okay episode. It was like it's definitely leading to like a part 2 kind of thing. So like it was interesting, but I was like it didn't like I don't think it perfected like the way like the last episode did. It was like I think the last episode was like enough comedy, enough like kind of like we're getting a good sense of the character. I think my thing is I think this was too early in the show to have this happen for
Yeah,
the thing, in my opinion. Because like we're into the idea of like her being traumatized like by killing her parents. I feel like that's too early for this in the show
yeah,
to happen.
because you know they're gonna forget about it by next episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was like an okay episode, like it was fine.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was good as last episode, and I think it was like I just don't think it was interesting enough also. It's like, okay, I get it. It's a time travel episode.
Yeah, but and like time travel toilet where Bane takes a shit and now he's in the past. Come on. Come on,
Yeah.
guys. Come on, guys.
Come on.
Come on, guys. Do something better.
Yeah. It was like okay. But I
It
mean
wasn't
it
atrocious.
wasn't terrible, but I mean it was just like okay.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about.
No.
But yeah, that's Kiteman. Let's talk about Futurama.
Whoa, Futurama.
Can I do a solo thing and then you guys do Futurama?
No, it's gonna take 20 seconds.
No.
Okay,
Okay, fine. Do Futurama.
So Bender gets really into NFTs. And then he realizes, wait a minute, now people own my face. Now I don't know who I am. Which is so we have a Bender existential crisis episode, which we have a lot of, and those are kind of the better Bender episodes.
Yeah.
So he has an existential crisis and he goes to Mexico. And then he's in Mexico and he meets his family in Mexico, and they're like, it's me, Danny Trejo, your cousin. And then he's there, and and he's there, and they play a sport, and then he talks to his grandma a lot, and not really much happens until he gets sacrificed to the gods. So then he gets sacrificed to the gods until he like finds a way to hack his NFT back, and the side plot is Fry, Leela, Zoidberg, and Farnsworth are going to go steal the NFTs back.
And the
so
big joke is like, so what is an NFT exactly?
Yeah,
That's the big joke of the
what is an
episode.
NFT?
Okay, so guys,
What
a
is it?
non-fungible token.
We're gonna
It's
kick
known
you
as a
out.
smart
Back.
contract. There is a
We
digital
don't
currency that can be
care.
digitally exchanged on what's called a blockchain. Now, a blockchain is
Oh
a
my
large.
god!
I'm gonna say this
I'm
of the
trying to
episode.
participate in the Futurama conversation, guys.
No, Beck. What the fuck?
Beck, go.
Yeah, go. Get out of here. Beck.
I'm gonna say about this episode. I like the Bender stuff. It was pretty nice. It's like, but it was. Sorry, I got food delivery.
Okay. I'll talk in your behalf. The Bender stuff was pretty good, except for the fact that when it wasn't that good. There's a lot of this is your comeback episode. That was kind of not the best for your second season of a comeback, you know? It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like it's
Is this
good.
technically a new season or was it a hiatus?
This is season 12.
Okay.
What? I missed the discussion.
It's season 12.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna say I think it was too reliant on like the current topic of NFTs way too much. I know Futurama does this, but I like it when they do it kind of like sparingly, kind of in a way. But this was way too reliant. I like the Bender stuff, but I just wish it wasn't related to NFTs.
I also wish like the family switching on him wasn't like just like a thing that happened, and rather like something that was set up. Because it seemed like his whole family loved him.
Yeah.
So it was kind of upsetting to see that they kind of just baited him into sacrificing himself for the gods.
I would also wish it was like a little less obvious that they were going to bait him, because it was so insanely obvious that
immediately once you see that Danny Trejo character is like baiting him into winning, then it's like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, we know what's happening. And I just did not care for all the Leela, Fry, Farnsworth, and
I mean, I thought it was fun.
It was fine. I thought it was fine. It was okay. But hopefully, it's going to lead to this season's going to lead to a little less current topic type of episodes.
Yeah.
Hopefully, if we get like more like good, like maybe classic, like sort of adventures, different planets, stuff like that, or maybe like a good Fry past episode, which I see we might have.
Yeah, I did see the like one of the following episodes, like they have to play Fry childhood games, and they're all kids or something, like just based on the thumbnail.
And those could be the fucking hardest episodes of the show.
They could be. They really could be, because the Fry past episodes are really like Why Fry, Jurassic
Luck of the Fryrish.
Yeah, Luck of the yeah.
That's my favorite episode of Futurama. Luck of the Fryrish.
Jurassic Bark is mine, or the Bee episode, like the Beacomber episode. I think, like, if I'm not going for like a cliche one, then it's the Bee episode.
Yeah. What do you mean, like the Sting?
Yeah, like the one where Leela goes into a coma, but it's
really
actually
good
fine in the coma.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I think that one just is full of like really good twists and like just emotional moments from Leela, because it's in a spot in the series where Fry and Leela aren't like a thing, so having like all the emotion of just like these two people who are close are like, it's just good. It's just a good episode.
Yeah, no, and I want to see some more Fry and Leela stuff. A little more this season.
We got so little. We got so little last season.
Yeah.
It was like the moving in episode, and like that's it.
Yeah. And so maybe like the first episode, I guess, but yeah, no, I want to see, but I'm always excited for more Futurama, obviously.
Yeah.
But but we're gonna see how this kind of plays out. Exciting. I'm really bummed out that it got like shadow dropped and like very quietly released.
Like,
I wanted some more hype build up.
I've been like waiting for like a couple weeks because I remembered it existed, and I'm like, wait a second, Futurama is coming out later this month. but I don't remember when this month. And then I just like randomly checked, and I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah. And but yeah, we're gonna see how that kind of plays out over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Beck, talk about a movie.
Yay! I get to talk. Okay.
Big Short or American Beauty?
Oh wait, I do have to talk about American Beauty. Oh wait, I have to talk about 4 movies. Oh my god. I just realized. Okay. First one, I'll talk about Aiden movie. I watched Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, and Aiden got really mad at me because he said this was an Aiden movie.
Dude, stoner movies are my movies. What are you talking about?
You don't even get
And
high.
have you seen this
No,
movie?
but I just enjoy. No, I haven't seen this movie.
Oh my god.
I think Harold and Kumar Go to Guantanamo Bay. That's really funny.
Yeah, I think this one came out first, right? And then that one came out after.
I'm not sure.
Okay, but I watched
We'll talk about it.
And it's cool because there's these 2 guys, they get really high, so they want to get White Castle, and then hijinks ensue.
Barney Stinson. I mean, Neil Patrick Harris.
They do meet Neil Patrick Harris. And he does steal their car. It's mostly just like a teen comedy kind of where it's like they just go around and do a ton of random stuff and jump between random funny scenarios, and it's just a good time.
So what you're telling me is that you haven't seen a stoner movie?
I have seen a stoner movie, and I'm saying it's a stoner movie.
What stoner movie have you seen besides Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle?
Dude, where's my car?
Booksmart's not a stoner movie.
Not a stoner movie.
Wow. Okay.
Go watch a good stoner movie. Like,
fine. Give me the stoner movie recommendations, Aiden.
Dude, where's my car?
Dude, where's my car?
Dude, where's my car?
Dude, where is my car?
No, where's like it's one. Where is? Has Ashton Kutcher.
I will go and watch Dude, Where's My Car?
I have it on DVD somewhere if you want to watch it on DVD.
All right, next thing.
Don't watch it in the room with your parents.
I won't.
Good.
Next thing I watched American Beauty.
Nice.
I don't know. It's like very highly rated, and I'm like, okay, maybe I should watch this. So
the only thing I've seen of that is like the Family Guy parody of it. Can I
explain the story of what happened with this?
So, I would love to hear the story of what happened with this.
I am watching American Beauty. I get like halfway through, and I'm like, I'm gonna take a bit of a break. I go on my phone. I open YouTube Shorts.
I say TikTok.
Okay, I said TikTok, but it's actually YouTube Shorts. But it's easier to say TikTok. Okay,
yeah, this guy's a liar.
Wow, I did lie. Wow, sorry, my bad.
Letterboxd should fucking sue you.
Wow. So I'm scrolling through YouTube Shorts, and I'm halfway through the movie at this point, and what shows up is like a fucking Family Guy clip, and I'm like, hey, I like Family Guy, I'll watch the clip. And it's like, these 2 people are cheating on each other, and the guy in the fast food window is like, oh my god, you're cheating on me? And then he does a voiceover, and I'm like, wait, this sounds very familiar. And it's like, hey, neighbor teenager, this is, he's my weed supply. I'm like, holy shit, this is the Family Guy parody of this movie I'm halfway through. And now it's fucking spoiled the movie for me. Great.
Maybe don't go and fucking YouTube Shorts during a movie, Beck.
Oh my god, I was taking a break, okay?
What do you mean you're taking a break during a movie?
Oh my god.
Watch the fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but like, just watch YouTube Shorts while you watch the movie.
That's a terrible idea.
Yeah, but you're still watching the movie at that point.
But let me tell you the plot of American Beauty. So there's this guy, he's like 50, and he's depressed, he's sad, he doesn't like what he's doing. He goes to his daughter's like cheerleading thing, and then he sees her friend and falls madly in love with her, like at first sight. And the rest of the movie is him trying to have sex with his daughter's best friend.
Why did you watch this movie?
Aiden, it's an Oscar winner.
It won Best Picture.
Why?
I don't know.
What year did it win? What year did it win?
1999.
Oh my, hold on. 1999 Best Picture
Yeah, what was it up
nominee.
against?
Let's see, what was it up against? 71st. Okay, hold on, give me a second.
Okay,
View by
so
category. Oh, just give me a sec. Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
bro, Aiden is very shocked right now.
Oh, I'm literally trying to
Oh
find
my
it.
god, Aiden, can you not figure out the Oscars website?
Okay, fine. Okay, here's the nominee. Wait, 1999?
I think
It
it's
came
2000 because it would be the next year, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
Or-
so Beck
2000.
was literally lying. Hold
The
on.
movie came out in 1999, okay? That's what it's telling
Guys.
me.
All right, hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Best Picture. Again,
Cider House
American
Rules.
Beauty, The Cider House Rules, The Green Mile, The Insider, and The Sixth Sense.
I would have picked The Green Mile because that was a
I
really
have
good
not
movie.
seen any of those except American Beauty.
You haven't seen The Sixth Sense?
No,
I have not seen it
I've
either.
heard of it, though.
Really? And you guys want to go see Trap? Oh my god.
Oh my, dude. Do you not want to see Trap? It looks so good.
I do want to see Trap. I'm just saying.
so excited for Trap.
Okay,
Wow,
so
they didn't even have animated movies in this list at all.
because it was 2001 was the first one, right?
Is that when Shrek existed?
Yeah. Okay, so American Beauty. The guy wants to have sex with his daughter's best friend. So he's like, I should start working out. He starts working out. He quits his job. He starts working at a fast food place. So he's like trying to live his best life. He buys a car. He's going like a midlife crisis because he really wants to have sex with his daughter's best friend.
Isn't there like a scene in the movie where like there's the neighbor's son who it looks like he's giving him like head?
Yes. So, his next door neighbor, has a son, and the son deals weed, and he like is like supplying the dad with weed. So like they're doing that, but also, the guy that's supplying weed is dating the guy's daughter. So that happens, and then the wife is cheating on the guy with a real estate competitor, and when he's working at the fast food place as like a cashier, he sees his wife and the guy he's cheating on with pull up to the drive-through and like kissing each other, and he's like, "Wow, you're cheating on me. This is not good." A lot of stuff happens.
The neighbor father is gay, right?
Yeah. And okay, so the neighbor's father sees like his son. It looks like he's giving the dad head, but he's just giving him weed. And then the dad's like, don't do that, and then he starts crying, and then he tries to like kiss the guy, and the dad's like, I'm not gay. And then what's happening, and then after that, so the daughter and the best friend, they get in a big fight. And the daughter is like, your dad, he's hot. So so the best friend goes down to the dad and is like, what up?
What the fuck?
Yeah, literally. And then they're about to start having sex, and then the best friend is like, I've never had sex before. And then this is when the dad realizes he should not be having sex with his daughter's best friend.
Isn't this a crime?
He just realized it finally.
He finally realizes it and is like, okay, I'll make you a sandwich.
Oh my God,
so he goes and he makes her a sandwich. And then
imagine having sandwich instead of sex.
A sandwich with his penis in it. And it turns out that
It's
Beck
called
was watching
cock meat
porn the whole
sandwich.
time.
And then the neighbor comes and shoots the guy in the head, and he dies.
What? Shoots what guy? Kevin, the main character?
Yeah, he kills the main character.
The main character that was trying to have sex with his daughter's friend?
You're lying.
No, that's what happened. I was genuinely shocked. I don't know why the neighbor randomly shot Kevin Spacey.
Because he did drugs? I don't know.
Maybe.
He had.
It
Whoa.
was very the ending was very confusing for me. Like I was following it up until that point. Yeah, so that's the movie. Very weird movie, I'd like to say. Next
All right,
thing
what
I
is
watched.
All right, hold on. I googled it. Because he's ashamed of his homosexuality and Lester rejects him.
Yeah.
It's about homophobia.
It is.
Makes sense. There's like a gay couple in the movie, right?
There is, and he gets really mad about there being a gay couple, but he was actually gay the whole time. Wow.
Trope. Common
Okay.
trope.
Next thing I watched, Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Wow.
Have any of you guys heard of this movie?
I've heard about this movie.
That sounds like a terrible title.
No, because it's so what it is there's this painter lady and she goes to this island and there's this woman on the island and she's being forced to marry this dude, but the dude, he needs a portrait of the lady so he knows that she isn't ugly before he decides that he wants to marry her. But the girl does not want to be painted. So the mom hires this random painter to secretly paint the lady, so that she can get a portrait to send to the dude.
Of course.
So they go and they're like doing all that, and they're like, oh, and they're like bonding. Wow. But then she reveals I was actually painting you in disguise, and then she looks at the painting, like, is that really how you see me? And then she's like, fuck, the painting's bad. The girl doesn't like it. She destroys the painting. The mom's like, what the fuck? That was a good painting. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go on a trip for 5 days. Now, paint my daughter, and like actually do it and don't destroy it this time. So the mom leaves, and the two girls immediately fall in love with each other. So they're now in love with each other, and they paint the portrait, and this time the woman in the portrait, she's happy. But then they realize, wait, if you go away, we can't be together. So she's like, how can I remember you? So what she does is she paints herself in like the book, in like a book she has with like her face on like page number 28. And then they have to separate, and it's sad. And then the woman is like, I saw her again one more time, and she's at a painting gallery, and she sees a portrait of the lady, and she's holding a book, and the book is turned to page 28, and it was badass.
Wow.
And that's the movie.
Now, Beck.
That was interesting.
I did ask you the other day, but I completely forgot. What does your Letterboxd review mean again? I
Okay,
forgot.
yes.
Challengers, baby.
So my review is page 28, and the painting has the same energy as the I had sex with your wife serve. And Aiden was like, what's the I had sex with your wife serve? And I'm like, what's a movie about serving that we watched together? He still didn't get it. I had to tell him it was Challengers. Bro completely forgot Challengers existed.
Serving, like serving cunt?
No,
yeah, that's what I thought it was when I read it. That's why I was confused.
No, because fucking Challenge, when he puts the ball in the hole, it means I had sex with your wife.
You could have just done from Challengers.
Oh my god, no, because
that would have cleared it all up.
Okay, yeah. But it was a really good movie, and it was all in French.
Wow.
So you guys can't say I don't watch stuff in sub, because I watch this in sub. Okay, next thing I watched, The Big Short. Now,
Jeremy Strong.
He is in this movie. So this
why
movie,
did you watch like 300 movies?
I was sick and I was bored. I watched a lot of movies.
Wow.
I also finished all of JJK, which I'll talk about when Nicola's back.
Thank God, because you watched 2 JJK movies.
I know I watched JJK the show because it's on Letterboxd and the JJK movie. Okay, so The Big Short is like there's this world and like there are these guys in the world and there's like something called the stock market.
It's about the 2008 housing market crash. Yeah.
Oh, you've read this story before? The lore is very confusing, but they explain the magic system very well.
Shut the fuck up.
The magic system,
Yeah,
dude?
so like in this system where there's things called bonds, and they can be short. They can cast a spell called a short, which means you'll make money if the bond loses value.
This fucking guy.
Okay, but it's basically just like explaining why the 2008 housing market collapsed, and I think it does an insanely good job at like explaining it. And it is really fun because they're like, okay, this is really complicated. Let's have Margot Robbie in a bubble bath explain how bonds work. Let's have
Send me that scene, I think you should just send me that part of the movie. I think that's
But no, it's like a fictionalized version of like the guys who were behind the crash. And it's Adam
not-
McKay who did like.
It's not the people that were behind the crash, it's the people that like saw the crash coming and made money off of it. They were like, and I think they do explain really well about how like the bonds were like very fraudulent and they were falsely verified as good. And like it was people betting on bets on bets. It was all explained really well, and I think you walk out with a really good understanding of what happened.
No, I do want to see it. Sounds good. It was like Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling, right?
Ryan Gosling is in it. Yeah, and he's good in it.
On the cover of no, he's not on the cover. Just kidding.
He should be on the cover.
How does the movie end, really?
The movie ends where it's like all the people they're like, we made money, but we made money off a really terrible system, so this is still really bad. You know, because like so many people like lost their houses and no one was really prosecuted for it. So it's kind of just like these people knew what to do, but like this never should have happened. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the other movie I watched, Uri also watched, so we get to talk about it together.
Wait, Aiden, did you watch Logan?
No,
Aiden said multiple times, I'm gonna watch Logan before I see Deadpool and Wolverine again.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna see it again, so I still have time to watch it.
Wow, okay. Me
That's
and
talk about
Uri, we watched
Logan.
Logan.
Whoa.
About the guy from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
And I'm gonna say just front now, I do think Logan is a better movie than Deadpool and Wolverine. I'm just gonna say that. I think it's better.
I see where you're coming from, yeah. But
because
they're
like
insanely different movies, you know?
They are insanely different movies with insanely different types of Wolverines, which I find really nice.
Yeah.
It's like you get.
Bro said it's better, but rated it lower.
He did do that. I just double checked.
And you know, sometimes they don't always mean the same thing, you know. And,
yeah.
But the thing is, I think it's better because like just the story. It's like it's a simple story, but it works so well. So, Beck, you want to say it?
Yeah. So it's this guy. His name's Logan. And he is like he has a thing called a healing factor, which means like he recovers.
Stop this fucking joke. Just say it.
Okay, so Wolverine is like protecting Charles Xavier, who had a stroke and killed all the X-Men. So now they're hiding in the New Mexico wilderness. And they're like, okay, we need to make money to get this boat. And this woman comes up to Wolverine and is like, I will give you $50,000 to get my daughter up to North Dakota. And he's like, you know what? Sure, I need the money. But turns out these evil people are after her, and the girl has Wolverine powers because she was made with Wolverine's genetic DNA. I don't know if they say how they got it, but they got it. So she is technically his daughter. And then they have to run away from the bad guys, all three of them with Charles, and they're like, all the mutants, they've been wiped out. No natural mutant has been born in 20 years. And they're like going, it's like kind of like a road trip to the top of North Dakota. They stay in this house with a family, and it's all about like be there for your family, like be a good dad. And we find out that the backstory is like this girl, she's like part of, I think, this group of children that were born in a lab, and they were like made to be like weapons for like the shady military company, and they all escaped, and that's why they're going to North Dakota, because for some reason in Canada they'll just be free. Um, which I feel like the armed terrorists aren't really going to stop at the Canadian border, you know? But then they get to the Canadian border, and Wolverine is like, I need to protect you guys. He does the mutant steroid, and he pops off, he kills everyone. But he ends up dying, and they all bury him, and the daughter calls him dad. It's really sweet. They're all standing over the grave, and they stand at the grave, and they lean the cross over, so it's no longer a cross. It turns into an X, like X-Men, and it's a fire
And
ending.
then Deadpool comes.
Yeah.
No. I thought this was a really beautiful movie that ended the story of Wolverine.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like really impactful. It's like he finally because his whole thing is like he always can heal, but now he can't heal anymore. I thought it was like really impactful that he's finally gone, and it's like I wonder if like he's ever gonna be defiled by Instinct. I don't know.
Guys, I really hope they don't desecrate his memory to the tunes of NSYNC.
Yeah, I bet he did.
But no, honestly, it was a
rewatch Deadpool and Wolverine. It'll hit different after actually seeing Logan,
I think it might, because I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. And I think this will give me a better perspective for like what type of, because he was essentially the Iron Man of this X-Men universe. It was like
some would
the
call
founding,
him the anchor being.
Yeah. And I thought it was like really, really impactful, and I just loved it. Was such like it was such a grounded kind of like X-Men story. It was like
I don't
it wasn't
know,
too fantastical.
I don't know how they were able to make this. Like, this doesn't feel like something like that was made in like the same franchise as the X-Men. Like, it's dark, it's gritty, it's serious, it's like emotional. It's like it's really
well. It's
weird.
made by James Mangold, who's now really like kind of like a superhero kind of like type of guy. It was like he's more of an auteur who makes like more like serious type of movies like that, and they got him to do this one.
Yeah.
And so it's definitely the director kind of thing. It was like they got a much different director than the other movies. It's like it felt so like kind of original and fresh. I loved this movie.
So fresh.
And I felt it was like a perfect way to end that X-Men universe,
Yeah.
But because obviously there is Deadpool and Wolverine, but like that's more of like kind of bridging into the MCU stuff. But this is like just a really ending that, like without the Deadpool stuff, just like ending that specific Charles Xavier and Wolverine Logan,
Yeah.
And I thought it was just a beautiful movie.
All right.
Yeah, and I rewatched Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wow.
And you know what? Second time watching it, that movie fucking cooks.
It does.
That movie's great. A lot of the problems go away the second time you rewatch it, because you're like, wait a second, this movie's really good. Like all of the like long drawn out stuff in the middle of the movie kind of isn't long and drawn out anymore, because you know how long it's gonna last. So you're just like, oh well, next scene is gonna be this, so it's gonna be great, and everything's way better.
Yeah.
Like Gambit was funny as hell the second time. The second time went. Every time Gambit shows up, he's like, my daddy put his hot buttery nuts all up in my mom, and I shot at her, and I was dog. It was a peak shit. That's some funny ass shit, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely keeping this as my movie of the year because
R-
this is some good shit.
So what's
Good
Aiden's top 5 of the year?
My top 5 of the year.
Deadpool and Wolverine, Kinds of Kindness,
Deadpool.
Ricky Stenicki.
Yeah, I don't know. Hold on.
Challengers.
Oh no!
Horizon.
No! No, dude, no!
Despicable Me 4.
Oh yeah, he loved that movie.
Garfield, If.
I mean, I'd probably
Furiosa.
do Inside Out 2.
Oh yeah, Inside Out.
And then maybe Twisters. Twisters is pretty good.
Should we get to Twister then?
Let's talk about Twister, the first one.
Oh, you guys have fun
first.
with that. I didn't watch that one.
Yeah, so Twister 1 is as well, it's from the 90s, but it's as 90s as a 90s movie can possibly ever get.
Yeah.
So Twister is this guy, he wants to sign the divorce papers with his ex-wife, and his current fiance is also there. And he's like, "Hey, sign my divorce papers." And they're in a group of like tornado hunters. They're like, "Nope, let's go hunt the tornado." And then they go and hunt the tornado. And then they fail at launching their like thing in the sky. It's called Dorothy. The thing filled with balls, and those balls spin around in the tornado, and then they can read the tornado because they don't know how tornadoes work, even though they 100% know how tornadoes work. It's the 90s. They fucking figured it out.
30 years later, they still don't know how tornadoes work.
Right, yeah, you're right. Wouldn't that be crazy if they couldn't figure out how tornadoes work, even though it's when the hot and the cold go and they go.
But
anyway,
nobody still knows how a tornado works.
I guess you're right. So the first movie is basically go to the tornado, put the thing, fail the thing, do it again, put the thing, do it again, and they win. So that's how the first movie operates.
It's a very simple movie, but it works really well.
It's very good. All the effects, like of the tornadoes and stuff, is really good. I think they're better in the original movie than they are in Twisters.
That's fair.
I like them more in Twister, like how the tornadoes look.
Yeah, I mean, because probably maybe something like it feels like fresher since you saw that first, I guess, and so it's like a different bias. But I'm gonna say it really worked well. My only thing was like it was such a fast movie. Like this movie takes place over 24 hours. Like they go from tornado, stop at aunt's house for some food, tornado, end of movie.
Yeah, and it is 5 tornadoes in one day, which is kind of crazy. But like all the set pieces and stuff are really cool, and like everything that happens is really cool. Like there's not a lot that happens in terms of plot. It's like divorced wife and divorced guy kind of get back together, and fiance leaves. But like that part wasn't that interesting. I liked the like fiance as a character that doesn't want to be there and doesn't know what's going on. But they have that in Twisters, and he was my favorite character in the movie. So
they do have that, and I'm gonna say like I feel like the movie would have been better if it's like if they didn't have that sort of character for like the divorce wife. They could keep her like a person who was scared of like Twisters or something. But like I feel like they should just have like a rough patch in the relationship, and this movie got them back together. They didn't need the divorce thing. It was like a bit too much. But I was like,
I mean, it was the 90s. Divorce was all the rage, so I guess it makes sense. Everyone was divorcing each other in the 90s. But Twister is pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good movie.
I really enjoyed it, and my own thing is a bit fast, and some of it not a lot happens, but it's still a pretty fun movie.
Yeah, although all the same things I think can be said for Twisters.
Yeah. So what happens 30 years later?
Yeah,
30 years later, the exact goddamn same shit happens.
Guys, are Twisters the only thing that happened in the Twisters universe?
I think it
How many fucking Twisters?
There's so many of them.
No, because there's an EF5.
Yeah.
There's so many.
There's so many.
But you can't really fault the movie for that since that's the entire movie.
Yeah, that's the entire
tornado. So there's a tornado outbreak, and we start off with a flashback for Daisy Edgar Jones and her group of tornado hunters, and they're like they're learning how to learn the dynamics of a tornado.
They're
But guess
trying to
what?
they're trying to turn off a tornado by putting diapers in it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't work, and they all die.
And there's
They
a boyfriend
do all-
character who's instantly coded as not surviving the
They're
next
all
5
instantly coded as
They
not
are all
surviving.
instantly coded as not surviving.
except for her and the other guy.
Like,
Yeah.
after seeing the first movie, okay, one thing about the first movie is like the main character, like Joe, has motivation for chasing tornadoes, in which the tornado took her dad, and now she's trying to kill the tornado, or like she's trying to figure it out because the tornado killed her dad.
Yeah.
There's not really motivation in this movie aside from like my friend is telling me to come. My friend is telling me to go help him, so I'm going to go help him. They're not doing it because their friends died. She's doing it because she was told to do it.
Yeah,
And so Joe and guy from Hamilton, it's the guy from Hamilton, right?
The guy from Hamilton.
Who does he play in Hamilton?
Look it up.
I don't know.
So they
But
go and they're like, we need to put down the Wizard of Oz detectors to get more data on tornadoes.
And then Glenn Powell is like a tornado YouTuber streamer, which they forget kind of after like an hour.
Yeah.
But it's all like, he's all like,
everyone's like, okay, so now that the cool character's introduced, when are you gonna ditch these weird lamos? And then she doesn't do that for 70% of the movie. We have to wait until like the last 30 minutes for it to actually join the good guys.
And I'm gonna say this about the movie. I did like how this movie, it felt like, for me, it felt like more like a full movie than Twister, because it didn't, because like I like movies that take place over like a lot 24 hours, but sometimes it can be a bit too much. And this movie is like there were more days, and it felt like more realistic, I guess, because like not 5 twisters happening in one day. It's like over the couple of days, which I felt was kind of like more fulfilling for a movie structure for me, at least.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, but I did think, essentially, because she meets up with the new Glenn Powell character, who's like a tornado trick streamer, and they get together and like they figure out how to like stop the tornado, because she actually does, after a big outbreak, she manages to stop by going into the tornado and releasing the diaper shit. And she stops it, and then she's gonna leave, and they're at the airport, and like he's like, you know what? This is the funniest scene in the movie. Where he's like, you know what? Beck, you say it.
So there's like a crossing guy. He's like, guys, you can't park here. You gotta move. And the guy's like, fuck you.
And he is in the first movie. That guy's
Drills from his truck into the concrete. He's like, I park wherever the fuck I want. It's really fun.
And then he goes into the airport, and like he's like, you know what? I don't know what it really means, but I think it's like they're probably gonna like he goes up to her, and then they leave together, or
they do leave together.
Like showing how they're probably gonna get together in like the future somehow. We most likely off screen they're gonna like get together, because like there's a deleted scene where they kiss in the airport, but I think the director thought it was a bit too much, because
they say they say there's like a weather outbreak, so I assume they both just go hunting more tornadoes.
Yep.
Yeah. And so they're probably gonna do something together. Maybe he'll join his YouTube team. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I don't think this movie can get a sequel.
We can call it Twisters.
Twisters. I'm gonna say this. It was what?
You guys are forgetting 2 of the best scenes in the movie. First,
no.
She's so depressed. She like failed. The tornado wiped out of town. She's so sad. She's like, I give up. She starts driving home, and the front runner for best original song of the year plays.
It's not an original song.
An original song.
Oklahoma.
No, don't take the home out of Oklahoma.
Can't take the home out of Oklahoma.
No.
And when I first heard the song, I thought it started with "I've been drinking, I've been driving," and I thought that was really funny. Turns out I've been dreaming, I've been driving, but I think I've been drinking and driving is funnier.
And me and Beck were just freaking out at each other, saying, "You can't take me home."
So confused because me and Uri were just leaning over to each other, laughing really loudly during the scene where like she's depressed in a barn.
Dude, I need Nicola back. I need to fucking sit next to Nicola.
You can't take the home out of Oklahoma, Aiden.
And so her friend who because she gets mad at her friend who brought her here is like, what are you doing? You're just taking advantage of people who lost their homes because he works for a guy who wants to
buy land.
I'm really confused.
He buys the land of the destroyed houses.
Yeah, and so he does that, and he said you're taking advantage of people, and he's like, and then he goes away, and then there's a big tornado outbreak, and they're him and his team are supposed not to go and help. They're just supposed to I don't know, gather data or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then his friend, his coworker is like, you can't go, and he's like,
you can't help the people.
I don't care about the people.
I don't care about the people.
The people. And that guy's gonna be Superman. That's also really funny because already told me that. I'm like, yeah, this guy feels great for Superman.
But then his friend leaves the car, but then he skirts off without him, and it's he's joining the good side. And then he helps at the big final tornado battle at the end. He helps
tornado battle. Yeah,
I love the final tornado battle.
Where they're in a movie theater and it gets torn to shreds. Did you also think
the theater can handle what's coming?
Did you guys also think that the screen in our movie was gonna get torn away too?
You think we were gonna get a tornado for real?
I thought they were gonna put the original Twisters on the movie theater.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
But no, it was Frankenstein.
Yeah.
But
the tornado's coming back to life.
You are forgetting two important parts though before we wrap this up. One, the voice actor of Nora from
this is also the best part.
The voice actor for Nora in RWBY is actually in this movie as a mother character.
So guys, the tornado is ripping through some rodeo town, and there's a mom, and she's screaming, "Help, my daughter!" Me and Aiden both looked at each other. It's like, that's Nora RWBY.
I'm gonna say this about the movie.
This is really iconic. No. You could tell it was Nora RWBY.
One more thing before you say your last thing, Uri. Not only do they not know how tornadoes work, they have not figured that out yet, but they extra don't know how they work in this movie because they think that people make them. Do they not know? They think the bad guys are in charge of making the tornado. They straight up say that. They're like, you keep putting the tornadoes in the towns and buying up the land that they destroyed. It's like, no one makes tornadoes. This is nobody's fault.
They use the rockets with the silver thing.
The corporate overlords are creating tornadoes. So.
This movie could have been way better if the tornado was on fire for the whole third act.
Yeah, no. I'm like, this movie is so cool when they're doing weird shit, like the tornado being on fire. That was cool. Them randomly playing country music really loudly is really funny.
That's why the first movie's better, because they drive through a house in the first movie.
I might watch that.
And also this movie really downplays the fact that she can stop tornadoes.
They discovered a way to stop EF5 tornadoes, which is life changing.
And but no, I'm gonna say about the movie. It was a really enjoyable, fun ride. It's not a deep type of movie. It's just a movie you have fun with, and you can just enjoy. I like the main characters. I'm gonna say the Glenn Powell character, Tyler Owens. I thought he was kind of weak and because he had this thing where it's he's a Twitch streamer, which they just kind of forgot later in the movie. It's okay, that was fun.
I liked him.
It was enjoyable, but it was not much of a character. I enjoy more of the other character. The main character was Daisy Edgar Jones. Whoever what's her name?
I don't know. I know. Kate? Was that it?
I don't know.
It was.
I know character names.
It was Kate.
They don't have last names. Oh my god.
And but it was just an enjoyable kind of fun ride and great. The emotional. It still has the same problems as the first one, where it's all like not the always the strongest motivations or anything like that. And like it's insane that there's so many fucking twisters in with so little time. But that's just a movie, and it was an enjoyable ride, and yeah.
Yeah.
And like it's insane that there's so many any last thoughts from you guys or anything?
I don't know. It was fun. It was a fun movie.
All right, two more
Yeah.
I think
things.
it could have been more exciting, but yeah.
All right.
Two more things.
House
What are
of
two
the
more things?
Dragon.
Oh, I forgot. Oh no. Fuck.
All right, guys. So in this episode, they're like,
I'll talk back.
Okay, you can talk. Thank God. I do not know the plot of this episode.
Yeah, you would butcher it anyway. Like
Like
even if
from
you did know the plot,
Homelander?
you'd butcher it.
Wow,
Like
you're gonna go
from-
about like the deep philosophical like depth of like Alicent swimming in a river. You know, like this is like.
That was deep and philosophical, Beck.
Yeah.
She was gonna commit suicide.
Come
It's
on,
almost like they
Beck.
haven't done that for like every character.
Okay, in this episode, this is the episode where I feel Rhaenyra kind of becomes a villain in a way, you know?
Ooh.
So like we see
He
kind of
kills
a
a
darker
lot of
Rhaenyra.
people.
I hate when people kill people. It makes me so sad.
But I'm gonna say, Beck, I think this was my favorite episode of the season so far. It was such an impactful episode that I found was very interesting. It was like for me it was like such a cool episode where we finally got to see kind of the culmination of everything. And next episode should be crazy because I really enjoyed this episode. So let's talk about it.
The only thing that I really like the small folk side of this episode because like we've talked about this before. I really like the small folk side of Game of Thrones, so it was cool to see like a kind of an entire episode dedicated to that side.
So in this episode, we see it's kind of starts off with Laris and another council member called the Iron Rod. Yes, it's why you think he has that nickname.
It's a big dick.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so they're talking about like the gossip of how Adam. Well, it actually starts off with Rhaenyra and Adam, and you really expect that Rhaenyra, because Rhaenyra's expected has been so many people have attacked Rhaenyra and never shown loyalty to her. But we see how Adam actually does show loyalty to her, and she does not expect that. And she's realizing he got this dragon. He doesn't tell that his father, to Rhaenyra, is Corlys, so he kind of hides that. And so she's thinking it's very interesting. So now it's working that other people other than Targaryens can get dragons, and I thought that was a really cool idea.
The thing was it's you can't have like full you can have not just full blood Targaryens but half blood Targaryens.
Yeah. And so we're seeing how she kind of struggles with the idea, like she goes to Masari and she's like, you know, like how am I gonna do this? Like, and it's like interesting, like how cause she needs more riders, and how is she gonna like get more highborn people to ride the dragons? And Masari's all like, well, what about lowborn people, like bastards? And she's like, but bastards have like no fealty. High lords have like have like honor and like duty and stuff like that. And she's like, no, because the thing is with lowborn, they don't have any fealty to anyone, but you can make them loyal to you. Because you know how many people have highborn loyalty, Beck, has betrayed Rhaenyra so much.
Yeah.
And there are all the people that the lowborn people, they have never betrayed you. It's the highborn people who have always betrayed.
And she has
Rhaenyra,
a lot more lowborn support than highborn support, you know?
Yeah. And so she's like, let's raise an army of bastards, and that was such a cool line. Which fine. So she kind of sends like this message out to King's Landing where Rhaenyra's helper gets like a bunch of bastards, a bunch of word out to bastards that Rhaenyra needs people to ride dragons. So a bunch of people are a bunch of Targaryen bastards because there's so many are coming out to go at night for the ride, and this is where we see the two kind of small folk characters that we're focusing on.
Yeah, it's crazy. There are two dragons left, and we know two small folk people. What? That's crazy.
And yeah, that's obvious, but it was really enjoyable because
Yeah.
now we see that to Hammer is revealed that his mother was a Targaryen bastard herself, and or a princess. I was kind of confused on who
I
she
was a
kind
bit
of was, but
confused too.
but she's he's descended from Targaryen royalty, and he's like since his daughter died, apparently his daughter died from last episode,
Mm.
and so he's like, I have to do this, and his wife's like, no, but he decides he needs to do this, and Ulf on the other hand is like he's more scared, and he's all like, he doesn't know if he wants to do this or not because he doesn't know if he's actually descended from Targaryen royalty, and but then he decides to do it, and then we'll get to how that kind of plays out later.
Yeah.
Back to Laris and the Iron Rod. They talk about like should they tell Aemon because like Aemon's down in like the courtyard and he's sending all of Aegon's Kingsguard to the wall because he did such a bad job guarding his mom last episode.
Yeah.
And they're doing that and they decide not to tell Aemon about Sea Smoke and Adam, which I think is to show that Laris really does not want Aemon to consolidate power. He wants to remove power away from Aemon because Aemon knows what a trickster Laris is, so he's trying to remove any sort of advantage Aemon has. Which is also why later in the episode, Laris is really rushing to rush Aegon's recovery because he knows with Aegon in power, he has much more power.
Yeah.
And with Aemon in power, he does not. So he's rushing to get Aegon fixed because any day Aemon could just go into Aegon's bedchamber and kill him.
Yeah.
But she's
Terrible.
And so we're saying it's all really building up to sort of interesting points, and this was my favorite scene in the whole episode.
So we cut to Damon and Harrenhal. So guys,
and
did you know Harrenhal's haunted? There's ghosts. Or
no, but okay.
Also.
This was the best scene in the entire episode. Maybe the best scene in the entire show. I don't know. It was such a good scene where it's all like finally, because yes, Damon has been in Harrenhal for 5 fucking episodes, but yes, it's definitely overkill, and they only show like one scene of him per episode now, where it's all like he is in Harrenhal or something like that. Where it's all like, but it's really to show how much of a failure he is at being at politicking and being a king back,
Yeah.
And so we're seeing that like earlier in the season we saw how Oscar Choli, when he was talking to Damon, he was more of afraid, but now that his grandfather, the sort of the Lord Paramount of the Riverlands, he died. He's like he's finally come into himself, and he's like, he talks to the different bannermen, like the Blackwoods and the Brackens and the Pipers and the other families, and they're like this is how you assume the scene's gonna go, you assume that they're gonna just dismiss him because he's like a 14-year-old child, he's like he doesn't have any power, how can he make them bow to Damon? But then he goes on a fucking brutal verbal rampage. Where it's I don't give a fuck about Damon. Honestly, Damon, he's a shitty guy. Basically, he kind of destroys Damon, and he owns him. It's like the prince, and Damon hates being called Prince Aiden because he wants to be king.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Everyone hates to be prince.
And he just destroys him, and but and Damon and William Blackwood, they work together to do some atrocities,
right?
Brackens.
Oh, Brackens.
They kill a bunch of because Blackwoods and Brackens hate each other.
Yeah.
And they're all and Oscar's all if you want to earn our favor, there's a way you can kind of do it, and he makes guards take William Blackwood by force, and then he's like, you wanted our arms, and he's basically telling Damon, go kill William Blackwood to get favor with us, and just destroys him because Damon only does things that Damon wants to do, and to see him be so defiled and like being owned by this like little kid. It's such a brutal takedown because Damon does not have honor, but he has some sort of mafia honor that him and Willem were like kind of like brothers in like secret. Like he respects codes of honor he made with his people he's planning to work with, and so you assume like Willem really assumed that I helped you so much you wouldn't kill me, but then Damon is just like he's lost it, and then he finally kills him, and it shows how much of a useless sort of politician Damon's become, and it shows how much of a fucking badass Oscar totally is.
Yeah, no,
he's the GOAT.
He came out of down from the ropes. He popped off. I really hope we got to see more of him throughout at least the next episode in season 3.
Yeah, no, he was a really good character. We then see another scene later where Damon's having like a vision. He's meeting with
Viserys.
his like Viserys, and but Viserys, unlike last episode, he has like all the the makeup to make him look very sickly. And I thought that was a really powerful scene where I saw like Damon regrets so much that he wasn't there for his brother, and he's like he destroyed him, that he could have been a good brother. And like this, I feel like this season is showing. In season 1, he was a brutal man, Damon, but this is a season of regrets and how he regrets kind of what he did, and it's like his past is coming back to haunt him. So we're gonna see what type of man he is going to be in the final episode and in season 3. I thought this was really powerful.
Yeah.
But finally comes the craziest scene in the whole episode, and this episode was directed by like a horror director, and you really feel the horror.
Yeah, you can feel it in this scene. So
where it's all like
Rhaenyra brings all the Targaryen bastards in front of one of the dragons. I forget which one.
Vermithor.
And it's like, okay.
But before that, she's like, she does this sort of thing where it's like the actor described it as kind of like a cult leader talking down to like their flock of people. So like she's convincing them to fucking basically, she's not telling them like with Stefan Darkland last like 2 episodes ago, she kind of told them the risks, but for these people she's not telling them the risks. At the ultimate day, this is kind of a villainous thing that she did. She's like basically allowing these people to die for her own power, and I thought that was really showing how Rhaenyra is kind of being an evil person too,
She is, yeah. She's like killing all these people.
So Beck, you talk about this.
Okay, so the dragon kills everyone. But then, like 2 of the people are left standing. One like a woman and the other a dude. And the dragon's about to kill the woman, but the guy is like, stop! And he goes and he's like,
Hugh Hammer.
Hugh Hammer, yeah.
Hugh Hammer.
Yeah, I was playing on his name. So Hugh Hammer, he's there. He's like, get out of the way. He says to the dragon, over here, and then he stares down the dragon, ready to die.
Mama!
Yeah, and then the dragon is like, you know what? You're cool. You're my new dragon rider.
And that was such a good scene. I loved it.
And
it was seeing how like
that
Vermithor is like a very brutal dragon.
Yeah,
and like Hugh Hammer is a very like fearless man, and I feel like that he kind of respected Hugh for that.
Yeah. It was definitely like they kind of symbolized each other. They matched each other vibe.
On the other hand, what I really like about the show what I really like about the show is like each of the dragons have different personalities, and so you kind of fit the personalities with the dragon rider, and you see how that kind of plays out. And I thought that was really interesting. But Beck,
he runs away, and he is going through all these caverns, and then he finds Silverwing, right?
Yeah.
He finds Silverwing in the thing, and Silverwing is like, you know what? You can tame me. And then Silverwing flies him all the way to King's Landing, and then
I feel like he was just so impressed by his incompetence,
Yeah.
Like, what a little baby, I gotta take care of him.
Yeah. And then Aemon is like, what the fuck? Why is there a dragon here? This is really bad. So he's
then he takes Vhagar to Dragonstone.
Yeah, he takes Vhagar to Dragonstone and is like, okay. But then he's like, he turns back, and then we had this badass shot of Rhaenyra stands
Best
there.
shot in the whole show. I love this shot.
She stands next to her dragon, and 3 dragons are flying around the cliffs behind her and like landing, and
symbolizing the 3 dragon heads of the Targaryen symbol.
She's ready to fight, bro.
And next episode is going to go so hard. I think it's going to go insane. I think.
Yeah.
But this was like a really powerful episode in this kind of like we're seeing how everybody's kind of leveled up, and Rhaenyra finally has her advantage, and we're also getting noticed that Daron, Alicent's 4th child, he's finally ready to fly on Tessarion. So he might come in the last episode. It might be next season, but that's really interesting since he's a really good character in the book. Alicent this episode is more of a calmer story because, like, you know, Alicent's kind of lost it in her life. Like, she doesn't know what to do.
Yeah, she's just fucking around in the forest right now.
And she sort of does this thing where she goes with her one of her Kingsguard into the woods, and she's like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to come back. It's showing how, like, you know, she doesn't know what her place is anymore at the Red Keep. And so she goes into the river, and it's like she's like doing the painting of Ophelia, kind of, where she's all in you know the painting of Ophelia, Beck, right?
I totally know the painting of Ophelia.
Well, you know the painting of Sarah Lynn in BoJack Horseman.
I know that.
Oh
Well, that's kind of based off, and so you see the similarity.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking she's going to commit suicide, but then a bird comes over her, and it's I don't really know what that means, but I feel like it kind of represents that no, there's always kind of like more.
Bird. I think it's just really a bird.
I love birds.
It is just a bird. It's not a dragon, Beck.
I think you're reading too much into this, Uri.
I'm reading too much into it.
I think she just really likes birds, you know? Because she's like, wow, maybe I shouldn't kill myself. That's a cool bird.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's House of the Dragon.
Can I talk about the bird man, though?
Oh my god, bro is obsessed with the birds right now. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Keep talking about the birds, Uri.
You suck. I just wanted to talk about the fucking bird, Beck.
Talk about the bird, Uri.
Talk about it, Ernie. Do it.
No, I can't anymore. Beck ruined it.
All right. Well, let's talk about something else.
Wait, I'm not done. I'm not done talking though.
He's gonna talk about the second bird.
There's not 2 birds, Beck.
No, because they. Yeah.
But no, it was like a really good episode, and I think it was cool. Okay.
Okay, what?
He's breathing. He's trying to calm down.
He has to calm down, because if he doesn't calm down, he's gonna kill himself. Because we're talking about RWBY.
Okay, you calm down.
She feels like she could be as free as the bird, you know, and so she's seeing like, you know, that bird is free. Perhaps she can still be free, and she doesn't really know. But she can't give up this at this point. She still can do something, you know. That's my take, at least.
Yeah. I think it's just a really good cool episode. Bird.
I wish I had some anti-suicidal birds around me, Beck. I don't know.
Don't worry, Uri. I'll get you a bird for the next special. So you
don't get him a fucking bird.
I think he would do good with a bird, you know?
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's anything else.
He's really trying to delay the RWBY segment.
No, I'm just trying to see if there's any. Is anybody else watch anything else?
No. Well, okay. I have actually. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I started the Batman.
No, Aiden, please, no.
No, I started Batman Caped Crusader. I only watched like the first half of the first episode, but overall, like, animation style's good, voice acting's good. Seems like it's gonna be pretty good.
Wait, what were you saying?
The Batman Caped Crusader.
I thought we were talking about the other show. I was so worried.
No. So that Caped Crusader. I will watch it. It looks pretty interesting. So I've been watching a lot of DC stuff lately, actually. The Superman, Kiteman,
RWBY.
RWBY,
Is it-
this one.
Are they all on like
Mag-
different streaming services? Like
No,
a lot.
most of them are
The
on
Batman one's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah. I want to watch the Isekai, the Suicide Squad one that I watched for like 2 minutes and then gave up on. But speaking of Isekai, with my Crunchyroll account, I decided to.
Aiden, please, I'm begging you, do not talk about this show.
No, I'll talk about it one time now and then never again. How's that? Until I watch the movie in season 3, okay?
What's this show, Aiden?
The show is called Konosuba, God's Blessing on a Wonderful World. So this guy dies, and then he gets sent to this, like, it's basically a video game, but it's like a fantasy world. And now he's in this fantasy world, and he accrues a team of characters. And this is the Gunner anime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So here, let me explain the main character.
All right,
so
can I borrow your gun?
So you got our main
borrow your gun.
His name is Kazuma. Now, when he's not being a pedophile or sexually assaulting someone, he is pretty smart and is like the most enjoyable character in the show. He is pretty funny. A lot of it comes from him sexually assaulting people, but that's all right. That's quite all right. Then we have our other character, Aqua.
Can't defend that.
She's a goddess, and she can do water tricks, and she doesn't wear underwear, though, and she's stupid.
Best combo.
Another character, Megumin. She's the child character, where lots of the pedophile jokes come from. How fun! She can make a big explosion, and then she can't do anything else. And then we have Darkness. She is a competent fighter, except she can't hit anything, and she gets really turned on by everything, and she's always horny. So these are our main characters.
Aiden, why are you watching this?
Because it's pretty funny, and because they released season 3 earlier this year.
There's 3 seasons.
There's 3 seasons in a movie back. Okay.
How has the creator not been fucking arrested already?
Well, I don't know.
I'm guessing Beck does not like this show.
Beck has never seen the show.
I saw one GIF, and I'm like, Aiden, you're fucking talking about this? What the fuck?
But I started watching season 3, and then I was like, I don't remember anything that, so I'm rewatching, and that's what I'm doing.
RWBY time.
Beck, what's your problem with?
I don't think I want to hear about the pedophile sexual assault anime.
It's not that. It's the Gunner anime. Come on, man.
From what I've heard, it's the pedophile sexual assault anime.
Real. You're so right.
Okay, so Ice Queen begins where there's these rubies at her
mom's
grave.
Okay, we have to make a fanfare. This is the final time we're talking about RWBY, probably for a little bit, right?
Yeah, this is
probably
until
for a
Volume
little
10
bit.
at least. Yeah.
Hopefully, or if they do anything else.
Yeah. So
yeah,
let's give some backstory into how this show was made.
No, because Beck, you told me before you watched the show that you were gonna do some research.
I wanted to know why this show was made. So
Beck wanted to do some research.
Okay.
And Beck, why don't you tell us about your research?
So,
okay.
RWBY. Now, this show is really weird, and I would call RWBY a weird show. Now, RWBY is really weird because it's a web show that's gone on for like 9 seasons and has had like a DC crossover movie. RWBY Ice Queendom is had all that. Plus, they got like a professional anime studio to make 2D animation of like the entire first volume and an entire original plot line.
Yep.
And they made a manga also. I found out there was a manga like that about Ice Queendom.
That makes sense.
Why does this exist? I'm so
I don't know. Why not? Why not?
I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something that should have happened, you know?
I mean, I understand. I get it, though. I know why it's an anime because it's like machinima is basically anime.
Yeah, it's heavily anime inspired, so getting like an actual 2D anime based on it is really crazy.
Yeah, good for them. So Uri, you started to watch Ice Queendom, right?
Yeah, but then I gave up since it was so I didn't care for it at all because I don't think I'm an anime guy.
That's
I'm gonna be
fair.
honest.
That's fair.
And it was like fine. I didn't think much of it. It was like I wasn't paying that much attention. It was like it didn't interest me, so I just
Well,
stopped.
what are the vague plot beats you remember?
Okay. Ruby, right?
Yeah.
She's at her mom's grave.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And her sister is Yang,
Yes.
and she's going to like another school.
Yes.
Or like an advance. She's advancing in something.
Yes.
But then there's is there robbers or something? And Ruby stops the robbers.
Yes.
Whoa.
Yes.
And then
Norman Fire Guy.
Professor Ospin is like, Ruby, you go with Yang.
He knows the names, Aiden.
No way. That's crazy.
And then there's another there's like a very white, it's like in like an ice place. Maybe it's like something like blue, very blue. And she's like fighting this thing, and her dad's all like, "You can't fight it, but didn't you want me to fight this because it was a test you wanted me to do?" And it's like, "You're a girl, right?" Something like that. And that's all I remember.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
let's
after that,
explain what actually happens. So
we don't have to because it is the first 3 episodes are season 1, pretty much par for.
Some things I do want to talk about where I think the Weiss backstory they give is like really necessary and good because it establishes her whole family.
That's her name.
So much quicker instead of us randomly meeting her brother in the start of season 4. But maybe that's a really good backstory. It sets up a lot of this stuff because this whole show will basically be about her.
Yeah.
I think they do the world building so much better. You're actually able to understand stuff a lot more than Volume 1.
Now here's the thing: is that because we watched RWBY already and we're already familiar with everything?
I don't feel like they didn't have Pyrrha explain exactly what aura is.
Or a semblance. They don't explain either of those actually.
Okay, yeah, but it felt like it felt more it felt like better than Volume 1. Like the first 3 episodes, I would recommend you watch that instead of watching Volume 1.
No, I don't think you should do that. You should watch Volume 1, and then you can watch Ice Queendom before Volume 2, I think.
Okay, yeah.
If you want to do it weird, or just come back to Ice Queendom at the end. Although I think that's hard because I'll come back to it later. I'll come back to it later.
But other things that happen in the first 3 episodes. Guys, she's back. She's back. I got more Penny scenes, baby. Woo! 2. Okay, now guys, so the first one is like the basic Penny that we saw in Volume 1 where they bump into her and she's like, "Ruby, you're my friend now." But the funniest part happens where they're all shown. They're like, "Here, there's a fight at the dock happening. What's happening here?"
Like the one that we see.
That we do see this in Volume 1, but it's like Weiss and Yang. They're sitting on a staircase. It cuts to Penny standing in ashes and flames while Norman Fire Guy's fleeing, and Penny has like all 8 swords out, just looking like such a badass standing on the flames. It's so cool.
It is a pretty cool shot. Now, after all that happens, which is just season 1, we also at one point get introduced to this new Grimm. It takes over Jean's mind after, like, I don't remember what part. It doesn't really matter. Takes over his mind, and then Team Juniper has to go into his mind to kill it. And that's like
And
what
they're
we
like,
get set
John
up
is
for the rest of
weak,
the
so
season.
this was really easy. I thought that was funny because he's the only one that doesn't know
And
aura.
then-
It's like it feeds off aura.
Yeah. Well, he has his aura. He just doesn't like. He's not very strong with it.
Yeah.
But then it happens to Weiss. So then Weiss is in a coma.
Yep.
And this is where the plot. This is when the plot actually deviates. So you get introduced to this wizard guy. Their name is Shion, and they're really boring and didn't really
I
do
don't
anything.
know why you thought they were a twist villain. I did not see that
They
at
were
all.
so bored. They were so boring. I was like,
were
they have
so
to do
boring
something.
that they had to be a twist villain to be interesting.
Yeah, but they were literally a plot device as a. They could have just done some other form of magic and could
Yeah.
have solved it, but they instead introduce a whole ass character that doesn't matter, and kind of if the character wasn't there, this could almost just be canon.
Kinda, yeah.
Like you could just write this off
I mean,
as
you could
canon.
just technically say this happened off screen in Volume 1.
Yeah, but Weiss gets possessed, and they're like, "Oh shit, that's bad." Ruby, you're her best friend at this point, so go in there and save her. And so Ruby goes in there, and there's a lot of shit in there. It's confusing as shit. Ruby has her gun is backwards.
This is one of
some
the
reason.
funniest bits in the show, where it's Weiss doesn't
Exact-
know how her weapon works, so the barrel's on the wrong side, and Ruby, who like is obsessed with weapons, just gets so pissed the entire time. It's really
Yeah.
funny. And also it's a snowboard, and that's cool
That is also cool because it's snowing because it's Weiss.
because it's an ice queendom.
Yeah, so Ruby finds Weiss in the dream, and she's like, "Ruby Rose, what are you doing out of your cage? I'm gonna kill you now!" And then they fight, and then Ruby leaves the dream, and she's like, "Wow, shit was bad in there.
Yeah.
Weiss looked like a Nazi in there.
He
That's
did look
crazy."
like a Nazi.
What does that mean? Look like a Nazi?
Look up an image.
Oh.
Pull up.
I got it.
I'll pull up.
I'll find it.
Okay, but like Ruby has hit another name is like, guys, what if we send Ruby, Blake, and Yang into the dream? And they're like, woo, crazy.
You know the
plan.
main characters?
Yeah, so now all of Team Ruby is in the dream, and the whole thing is that Xion's semblance is that they have like these like coins, and they can use the coins to like do helpful stuff. But there's only like 12 coins, so they have to split it amongst all the people in the dream. So like Ruby was like, I have 12 coins. I can just use all this shit whenever I want because it's hella easy. But now
And
they
then
each
she
only
runs
have
out.
4 coins. So they need to use them more sparingly, except at some point they realize, oh, there are too many coins. I'm gonna waste all of them so that there's tension.
Yeah. But really, when they go in, Blake and Yang and Ruby all go in, not much happens aside they get a little further.
Yeah.
But not really anything important like happens. They're just like, "Oh shoot, we got further and we kind of lost all of our progress, so we're going to have to come up with a plan." So then they come up with a plan in episode 6, Do You Have a Plan? Where their plan, they don't actually tell us what the plan is, but it does involve Jean. Now, here's what happened with Jean. Jean in this series, he's been possessed by a demon, so he's already gone through way more, like every time Jean shows up, he's already gone through way more bullshit than everyone else. Because that's just how they do Jean. So they're like, "Okay, Jean, you got possessed earlier, so you're actually immune from the vine, so you can't get possessed again in the dream. You're actually invisible, but you are going to have really bad allergies." So then they have to bring Jean into the dream, and he's there. And they also forgot to build the relationship with Pura, so he kind of just hangs out with Dream Pura the whole time, which is kind of funny.
And I do want to say one thing. Before they
Yeah.
go back into the dream, all the members of Team RWBY, they're like, this is so sad. And they all separate and they go meet up. Like, Ruby meets with Team Juniper. Blake meets with Sun Wukong. And Yang meets with Penny, baby!
Oh!
Penny scene, baby! She's back! New original scene! And it was peak. It was the best scene in the entire show.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No.
Yes, Uri.
There is something we need to talk about after RWBY. I forgot.
No.
Like you have a solo thing?
No, it's very important. It's a topic of discussion.
Oh.
So.
Oh man.
Hmm.
Hold on, let me go look in topics. We're not talking about Squid Game.
No.
Okay. So
Alright,
now you have all of RWBY and Jean there, and they're like, guys, what? And okay, I want you guys to realize this is the third time they've gone into the dream, and it's getting kind of repetitive.
Well,
But this time, instead of avoiding the train like they did the past two times, they take over the train, and the voice is like, "Oh, they did a good thing. My web map untangled a bit." So they're like, "Wow."
Yeah.
So they get into the city, and they're like, "Wow." Jean's like, "I'm gonna go get Team Juniper." They go get Team Juniper. And then Weiss like gets her grandfather's statue at the top of a pyramid to beat them all up. And then they all get separated.
a lot of shit happens. What happens? We can kind of skip over it because it's gonna take a lot of fucking explaining.
Yeah, no, it would like when the
I don't want
baby
to.
Weisses
I don't
grow
want to.
huge and they're fighting the robots and they're fighting.
We don't need
the
to explain that.
statue
We
of
can.
Weiss's dad.
We can ignore everything about the Vine stuff. We can ignore everything about the relic being in the dream and being important.
Yeah.
We can ignore the Ouroboros and the like Infinity Room. All that matters is that their plan goes wrong, but then it's okay because Jean's immune, and then RWBY figures it out, and then Blake becomes evil.
Yeah.
And I thought that was stupid.
Blake does eat one of the Grimm, turn into like some fusion of her and Adam, and then beats up Nazi Weiss. And then Nazi Weiss says, "Wait, I'm the bad guy." And
then RWBY beats the Grimm, and then Weiss is like, "Oh shit, I'm awake now," and then they have to fight evil Blake, which is kind of stupid. I didn't like how they had to fight evil Blake at the end instead of evil Weiss.
Yeah, but then they fight evil Blake, and then they fight the big Grimm.
Woo!
Nice. And then they get out of the dream, and they're like, "Cool, good job." And then the second best scene of the show happens, where they do the food fight from Volume 2, which is one of my favorite scenes of the show. So it was really cool to see that in 2D animation.
Yeah. But Ice Queendom overall is really confusing.
It is really confusing.
But it makes sense when you're watching it.
Yeah. It feels kind of weird because like the 2D animation is like the most professional RWBY has looked, like if you look at like quality wise, but I still kind of like the visuals from like Volume 9 more, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like that feels more RWBY.
Yeah. This feels like a RWBY thing, but it doesn't feel like RWBY, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when they make, I don't know how to even compare this to anything else. It's like
it's some
not a spin. It is a spin-off.
Yeah.
But it's like they got professional writers. Like it's well written.
Yes.
It's well animated. The voice acting's pretty good for like them having to, instead of doing like regular voice acting, now being like dub voice actors where they have to lip sync.
Uri was like, "Did you watch RWBY in dub?" And I'm like, "Bro, it's originally a dub." You know? Like it's originally English voices. Although I do think technically this one is dubbed, but they use all the voice actors from the actual RWBY show to do the thing. So it's like the most official dub.
I feel like this is like a scenario when if you're like a dub versus sub try hard, this is the dub that you should watch this dubbed.
Yeah.
Well, I think the voice actors do pretty good, like overall. They do their pretty normal performances as voice actors. The standout is Sun Wukong, who sounds way better.
Yeah.
Like he actually cooks as a voice actor in this for some reason.
Is it the same voice actor? Or did they just get a different guy?
No, it's the same. It's the same actor. You just did a really good
Popped
job.
off.
But
Okay.
I really like this show. I like what it does with Weiss and her like family and her whole deal, because that's what like makes Weiss interesting in like volume 7 on,
Yeah.
like her familial stuff and trying to branch away from that. But this is kind of a tie into that, but not really. And I don't like it because Weiss is barely in it. And when Weiss is in it, it's not Weiss, it's Nazi Weiss. So like,
well, I feel like they really wanted to expand more on like her like dark past earlier on in the show.
They wanted to expand on the only character who had stuff they could still expand on.
Yeah.
Because because in the main series, Ruby is a girl, Blake is a cat and is lesbian, and Yang is a lesbian, and that's really all they have to work with at this point in the series. And they didn't have anything to work with before. Like in this show, they just invent the fact that Yang has to be like not as controlling of Ruby.
Yeah.
Because they anything for Yang to do because they don't know what to do for Yang 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Weiss barely is in it, which sucks because I really like Weiss as a volume 7 to 9. I was like, wow,
comedic Weiss from volume 9.
Comedic volume 9 Weiss kind of shifted my view on her, and I was like, wait a minute, she has a character arc through the whole show. She's an interesting character. So then she became my favorite Team RWBY character, which does make the lineup of Jean, Penny, and Weiss in volume 8 actually cook way harder.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I did realize is I really fucking love episode 11 of volume 9. And that's kind of sad because that's the one episode that has no members of RWBY. I went back and rewatched that episode. Like, that episode I think is my favorite of the entire show. That episode cooks, and it's literally just the animatic. Yeah. But also another funny thing is RWBY Ice Queendom might be like the least popular thing I've ever watched on Letterboxd. Only 251 people have watched this on Letterboxd. And that's like smaller than some like YouTube short films I've watched on this.
Yeah. Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, ain't no one watching watching the show.
Yeah. But I mean, that is the last thing of the RWBY arc.
No, it's not, because I watched all of RWBY Chibi, and I'd like to talk about it.
I get to talk about at least like 10 episodes, so I know the general vibe
all right,
of RWBY Chibi.
Yeah, okay, you said, what's the general vibe of RWBY Chibi?
The general vibe of RWBY Chibi is you take seasons 1 and 2 of the characters, and you have them do funny stuff, and like focus a lot on like exaggerated personalities of their characters. And also be racist to Blake.
It does extend into volume 3 stuff.
Yeah, because they bring Pyrrha back to life, and it's kind of funny.
Yeah, they bring Pyrrha back to life, and they're like, wait, Pyrrha, you're not supposed to be here. Nora's like, no, it's okay, guys. We're fine. And they do the same thing with Penny when Penny comes back, and they do the same thing with Norman.
That part, but I do know Penny comes back, so I'm praying I can finish season 1 and get to when Penny's there.
Let me send you, because I know you're not really gonna enjoy it too much, but I'll send you like the actual like cooking episode of like a Penny episode.
Yo, Penny
cooks?
Cooks?
Like this is like the best Penny scene, I think. Like I've sent it. Don't watch it now. You can watch it later.
Okay, but every Penny scene is the best scene.
Sure, but I do want to. There's a lot that this show does good. Like this is what's missing from regular RWBY.
Yeah, no, it does feel like this is like
funny.
What RWBY is like. It shifted into a lot darker tone in volume 3, and it needed more lighthearted stuff like this.
Like this is lighthearted, silly nonsense. This is what's missing. This is like the Steven Universe Townie episodes, but they're not in the main show. They're in this show. The art style is kind of scary, but that's okay because it makes it funnier. But all the characters are like super one-dimensional. Like Ruby is happy girl, Weiss is bratty girl, Blake is a cat, Yang is the hothead, Jean is the dumb one, Nora eats a lot, Ren is actually really funny, surprisingly. Like I like Ren a lot in this.
Pyrrha just
and then
keeps
Pyrrha,
simping for Jean.
Yes, that doesn't stop.
I still have no fucking idea what Pyrrha sees in Jean. I don't know.
I get it.
How the fuck did he pull Pyrrha? That's so crazy to me.
He literally explains it in like the ball.
He did it. He recognized me from the cereal box. Oh my god, I love him. I love him.
Not because he recognized her from the cereal box, but didn't put her on a pedestal and treated her like a human.
Oh my god. Okay, but also like he is really just simping for Weiss, and dude.
Yeah, they have that in this. They have that in RWBY Chibi, where Jean simps for Weiss, which is kind of sad because Pyrrha is right there. But there is a funny bit where like there's one where Jean goes up to Weiss. He's like, "Hey Weiss, we have a study thing to you want to study with me?" And Weiss is like, "No." And he goes, "Aw," and the camera pans very slowly over to Pyrrha.
Like, do you want to
she's
study?
like, "Hey Jean, you want to study?" And he's like, "Nah, not today, Pyrrha." And then Weiss comes on screen. She's like, "Pyrrha, would you like to study with me?" And then Pyrrha's like, "No, that's okay, Weiss." And he's like, "If only they could see how oblivious they are." And then Nora is standing right behind. There's a lot of meta stuff.
Yeah.
There's
Dude,
one
where one episode that one was really funny.
That one's pretty funny. There's a
what's crazy to me is like sometimes the shorts will be like 3 minutes and sometimes they'll be like 30 seconds.
Yeah. They really like to use the dog Zwei in this series.
Yeah. Who we only really have like 2 episodes of like the end of volume 2 kind of.
But he's enjoyable. It's like it's a dog.
Yeah.
They make a joke in like the finale of of Chibi shorts where like he's the like VIP star of the show, which is pretty entertaining. But they do a lot with a lot of characters. Like they bring Velvet, she's in it a lot. Neptune and Sun are pretty funny as like a duo, and then they bring Ren into it sometimes, and as a trio they're pretty funny. And then they bring Jean. They're all pretty funny. Like everything just kind of works in this show.
Yeah.
And it's a very meta show, and it is very good. It's not like good, but it's good, you know?
Yeah.
Like sometimes they cook, sometimes it's really funny, sometimes it's like really embarrassing. Whenever like Crow is there or like Yang and Ruby's dad is there, it's like the worst episode that you could watch. But like other than that, it's pretty funny. I do quite like it.
So is that it?
I guess so.
And
I would like to talk about something.
Wait, I just want to say, be sure to stay tuned. Episode 90 is the special where we recap the entire plot of RWBY to Nicola to catch him up.
So me and Nicola will be committing suicide during that episode.
I like it. Also, speaking of episode 90, here's most of it.
Yo, paper.
So we are doing a drawing game. I've kind of decided that it's just like
board game.
Well, yeah, but that's too complicated and the board sucked ass. So I've just decided we're doing a drawing game. I have a bunch of prompts here. I will let you see the prompts before we start because I think it'll be unfair if I know all the prompts and you guys don't.
Yeah.
So I will let you see all the prompts. But it's basically just like one person draws on the board and then whoever guesses it gets the point for it. And then we'll just run through everything. And then I am going to make hard questions on these big sheets of paper. There are, like, most of these are, like, this one, draw a Disney character. This one's, like, draw, hold on. I'm trying to find a better one. Here's draw Lek Byans.
Okay, and, like, do you have to guess, like, what's on the card, or do you have to guess, like...
You have to guess the drawing. These are prompts. These are prompts to draw a character.
Got it.
So
yeah.
this one, draw a Disney character. You can draw any Disney character.
It's like real life Jackbox.
But then you have to like guess what the person's drawing. So there is a lot of there's a lot. You have to deliberately draw the character.
You have to draw something that your partner would know, right? Because you're trying to get your partner to
not
get
a
the
partner,
point and
it's-
not the opposing team.
Yeah, I think yeah.
Partner.
Yeah, but like there's a lot of fun. There's ones that aren't like here's draw any superhero. You could draw anyone you want. There's like here's draw Dune 2. I put like all of our movies of the year in
Nicola
here.
just next to like a number 1.
So there's not they're not all like characters. There are like specific things.
That's fun.
And
it will be
do you want to
fun.
give us a teaser of the prize, or are you saving that for 90?
I don't really know what the prize is. Well, I know what one of the prizes.
Prize prepared.
I have one of the prizes actually.
There's multiple.
Yeah, one for each placing.
Oh my god! I get a prize. This is crazy.
But yeah, but the twist is that you can only draw one character one time.
Ooh.
So you do, because there's like here's draw a Disney character. But then I also have ones that are like draw a Pixar character. So if you drew like there's ones that's like draw a Mickey Mouse character. So you have to like kind of be out there. You can't draw like the simplest character because there will be ones that are like, you know.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about.
For those who are missing
is it gonna be
Nicola,
black and white, or do we get color?
Get color.
Okay,
that's easy.
Good.
for those who are missing Nicola, he will be back next episode.
Yeah.
You will.
Also, I found a blank one. What do we want? What do we want as a prompt? I'm gonna let you guys.
A RWBY
together.
character.
That's
No.
already in there. That's already in there.
A podcast moment.
Yeah.
Biggest twist in podcast history.
No,
That's
it's
too specific.
It's too specific. That's like any podcast moment.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll add that. Uri, do you have one? You can make one too.
an emote. Do you have that?
Oh yeah,
I don't. That's too.
that's too broad.
And draw an emote.
Yeah, just draw any of the emotes in our server.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk about this really quickly if we can. There was some big news recently. Robert Downey Jr. is
yeah.
back as Doctor Doom.
This is so stupid, bro.
Guys, I think this was a big mistake. I
You
think
think
that
it's a
was
mistake?
I think that was his mistake because I know for a fact that no matter what they end up doing, it's gonna ruin either the movie itself or Doctor Doom as a character. Because the thing with Doctor Doom is that he doesn't take off his helmet.
They're gonna have
So,
him take
like, the
off his
fact that it's
helmet.
Robert Downey, which is gonna be bad
Yeah, this
because he's not supposed to do that.
you can.
You guys are not a fan of.
They had a fucking break glass moment here where they were like,
Yeah.
people really don't like the MCU right now. We have to bring back the guy 4 years after he. Like, you only waited like 4
Yeah.
years, bro.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
They
know.
did-
I'm
they're-
kind of more on the optimistic side. I'm excited to see what can be. It might ruin the Iron Man legacy, but also same about Deadpool and Wolverine and the Logan thing. So I
No,
don't
that's-
know. It could ruin the legacy, but it's interesting. You can say that at least. It's
Yeah.
It's very interesting. I assume it's gonna be like a multiversal thing, maybe. I have no idea,
Almost.
but very interesting. But you guys, it seems like you don't like it.
I don't like it. You
I'm
could tell, like,
very-
from the shock of the crowd, that is something they were not expecting, and that wasn't in a good way.
No.
Yeah.
What's the rec?
What's the rec? American
Ruby
Beauty.
Cheap.
Don't get shot
Wow.
in the head.
Don't get shot in the head.
Or do. It's kind of fun.
Uri wants to do it right now after the episode.
Yeah.
Alright,
No, I'm
remember-
happy. Ruby is over, so I'm happy now.
Oh man, but I'm sad
Remember
now that
to
Ruby's
always use Celsius.
Always
We'll
use
see you
Celsius.
next time.